Our next speaker brings us a speech about her husband and the unexpected lessons he's taught her about resilience, joy, and finding treasure in life's most difficult moments. As we are preparing for her entrance, we will listen with expectancy for sure. Please welcome Kelly Vedi with her speech, Ruin and Treasure.
Where there's ruin, there is hope for a treasure. This is one of my favorite lines from the Persian poet Rumi, because it's easy to go after the obvious treasures, but I've always admired those who can see the diamonds in the rough, like my husband, Amr Vedi. This is us on our wedding day. We actually got married not too far from here at the Westin in Lake Mary, but our story started 6 years before that. We met my first year out of college, my first year teaching high school math. He was the math teacher in the classroom next door. Now, my husband likes to joke that when we met, I was an undervalued asset, and, and he got in on the ground floor. You see, when we met, I didn't look quite like this. I had a pixie cut, but not a cute Audrey Hepburn, Emma Watson pixie cut. No. I looked like Justin Bieber. I know I looked like Justin Bieber because my students told me I looked like Justin Bieber. Repeatedly. But you know what? You don't have to take my word for it. You can be the judge for yourselves. There it is in all its glory. So not only did I look like this, I was also bad at my job. I'd spent more time in college translating Latin than doing math problems, and it showed. My students could tell. It was a rough year. In some ways, it was one of the worst years of my life. But thanks to Amr, when I look back on the stress and the plaintive cries, I also see moments that bring a smile to my face, like going out after work with my fellow teachers and Amr passing me flirty notes under the table, like this one, which I have actually kept all these years. And it says, "You have awesome hair." So maybe it wasn't the worst hairstyle. It was really thanks to Amr that I survived that first year, and not just because of the flirty notes. It's because of Amr's ability to take what should have been hard times and transform them into joyous ones. For example, here is a text exchange from 2018. A month after we got married, we were back in California where we lived. And in this text exchange, I'm thanking Amr for a lovely night. The night before, he had surprised me with dinner at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, Manresa in Los Gatos. The food was amazing, the drinks were amazing. The executive chef, David Kinch, stopped by our table and said hi. It was a night to remember. You'll see his response is a link to the song Burn from Hamilton. For those of you not familiar with the track, this is the song Alexander Hamilton's wife sings after Hamilton makes his long-standing affair public in order to clear his name of financial wrongdoing. It's an angry song. Now, why was that his response? Was he angry at me for some reason? No, that was his response because he was angry with me. Because the day before, I had walked into my CEO's office and been told, effective immediately, we no longer need your position. You're let go. I was shocked and angry. And Amr's response was to celebrate. When I told him, he said, "I'm gonna leave work early, put on something nice. I have a surprise for you." I still remember sitting at the table, him holding my hand, looking into my eyes and saying, "Those people do not get to write the story of today. I'm going to make sure you remember this day fondly." And ladies and gentlemen, he succeeded. That's still one of my favorite memories. Throughout our relationship, Amr has done this. He's transformed hard times into joyous ones. Another example comes from COVID. We were living in California, and we decided to come back to Florida, which meant driving all the way across the country. I was on Google Maps thinking, how are we going to get this done as quickly and painlessly as possible? But Amr had different ideas. This is us on the shuttle in Zion National Park, getting ready to hike the Narrows, which is an amazing trail where you hike through a shallow river through towering canyon walls. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it was just one of the stops on our 2-week road trip across the United States. We had stops in Vegas, Death Valley, Zion, the Grand Canyon. We saw friends in Little Rock and Atlanta. We stopped in Oklahoma City, went through St. Augustine, and eventually made our way back to where we started. And so have we. Back to where we started, back to the wedding. This was one of my favorite ceremonies from the wedding. We had 7 pieces of nutmeg lined out before us, representing life's obstacles. And hand in hand, Amr and I stepped forward, and we swept them away, one by one. Bad haircuts, hard times at work, global catastrophes. I know that life has more challenges ahead of me. It has more challenges ahead for all of us. But thanks to Amr, I know that with the right perspective and the right people beside me, I don't just have to get through life's challenges. I can transform them into moments I treasure. Thank you, Toastmasters.